Hey there, everybody. Andrew King, Canadian musician here at the Sheridan Centre, Toronto. It's Canadian Music Week 2016, and the gentleman beside me, Steve Molella, playing drums, manning the kit for Finger 11 the last little while, but also a very well-known producer, engineer, and I guess we can ask some questions on both sides today. First off, thanks a ton for joining us, and I want to jump into the studio stuff because I know that, that's kind of your anchor. What are some of the things that are keeping you busy now? I'm not sure if you can disclose much of it, but any current projects underway that you're excited about?
Yeah. There's a couple bands. One's called Euphoria, Glass Amp, Stuck on Planet Earth. The second, there's a few bands I've been kind of developing over the last little bit. And to me, everything's always about songs. It's like too many times there's so many bands that are, especially nowadays, look at Canadian Music Week, for example. There's thousands of bands that just are around and they just exist, but it's something that separates one band from the next is the quality of songs. And for me, working with bands in the studio, it's not just about the song, it's about their experience of getting, they need to grow, and it's my job to make them sound like them in 5 years, not just capturing them now, but kind of making bands just sound that much more professional than compared to the next band. Because when songs go into music meetings at radio, it's got to stand out. You can't be there to sell it. The band can't be there to talk about it. It's just got to stand out compared to all the other songs, and that's where I come in. And
yeah, bang on. I should say, May June issue of Canadian Musician, we've got a piece from Steve. It's the first of two parts on developing artists in the studio environment. And with that, you mentioned it's all about the song, and I know a big part of what you do is working with bands and kind of injecting yourself into that creative process to help them get the material where it needs to be to actually lay down a record. But that said, I don't know. I doubt that you work with a band that's green. What is it that you're looking for in an artist that you're going to work with? What are some of the ducks that they need to have in a row? What do you need to see in them before you'll sign on for a project?
That's a good question. You don't want to just I guess take on any project, but to me, work ethic is actually number one, because you can make a song out of nothing. If they come with a riff, we can turn that into something special, but they have to come and bring the exact same amount of work that I'm going to bring. They got to meet me halfway. That's the one thing I look for, and that you can usually tell within the first week of working with someone, whether they're, it's like, hey, I need, lyrics done for this part, and if they don't happen and these lyrics don't come back, it's like, well, why am I putting myself 50%, and you're kind of just there. So work ethic, passion, and they're looking at their game plan for the next couple of years. You don't want them to just have this song and it's kind of like, well, we're not really going to do anything, we're not going to tour. In today's market, touring is so important. Your song's not going to get played or picked up or anything if you're not relevant, if you're not active, if you're not touring. So that's one thing I look for, is for a band just to be active and to want to take that song and give it the proper legs that it deserves. So for the music part, they got to have something, but they don't, with me anyway, they don't need a full song. They need a piece, but they got to be able to be willing to work to continue that, that vision that we all should share in the studio, and kind of go on and take it from there. So work ethic is the biggest thing for me.
This is really valuable stuff. The vast majority of our readers are artists. On the other side of it, though, we also do content for folks like you that are working behind the scenes in the studio, doing production work. When you think of the hall of Canadian producers over the years, we have some massive names, one of whom, Arnold Lanni, was essentially your mentor for a few years. You had the chance to go down to LA and stay with him and kind of learn the craft from one of the best to ever do it. My question is, how did you land that opportunity? And more specifically, do you have any tips for people that, have that kind of drive, that would love an opportunity like that? What are some suggestions you have that can make a dream like that a reality?
Yeah, so first off, I didn't know how important a mentor was until I met Arnold and what he's done for me over the last, 7 years or so. The way I met him was Rob Lanni, his brother, owns Coalition Music. I was in a band at the time, I guess this was maybe 7 years back, with my brother, and my brother was very persistent in trying to meet the right people, and he made a great call of kind of finding Rob, and we had a demo, and we're like, we need to meet your brother, we got to meet your brother, because he was he did all my favorite records, like Our Lady Peace, their first 4 records, Finger 11, which was one of my favorite bands, which, they don't know that. But so he made so many of my favorite records that I'm like, I got to go meet this guy. I love what he does with music, with bands, with songs. So we went down there, and it kind of turned into more than that. Him and I hit it off on a personal level, on a professional level, and we just started working on other projects together and songwriting together. And now, we're best friends, and he still is in my life every single day and part of my, I guess, studio mentality every day of what to do. It's kind of like, what would Arnold do kind of thing, and he's helped me out so much. So with anybody else trying to do it, I'd say make calls. Like, there are people that do want to pass down their wisdom, knowledge, and it's such a big deal to me. Like, I can't imagine being in like where I am right now without a guy like Arnold. He's helped me out immensely. So.
Oh, right on. So as we mentioned at the beginning, Steve manning the kit for Finger 11. 5 Crooked Lines dropped last year. Keep an eye for what's coming up from them. But then on the other side, like you say, it's all about making calls. If someone wants to tap you for a potential collaboration, where do they find you?
Yeah, either my website, stevemomusic.com, and then Google nowadays. I guess you can just search somebody's name and email. It's right on the website. Everything's right there. You can just get in touch with me.
Bang on. Again, Steve Molella, Canadian Music Week 2016, and thanks a ton for joining us.
Got it, man. Thanks.